Hi all, welcome to Sabeena's Edu channel. Today we are going to discuss on the topic network security and threats. Reshma is going to take the session today. She is a final year student of Information Technology, University College of Engineering, Karyavattam. Let's welcome Reshma for the session.
Hi all, myself Reshma. I'm pursuing my 8th semester Btech degree in Information Technology from University College of Engineering, Karyavattam, Trivandrum. Today I'm going to take a session on security in network which comes under the 4th module of e-commerce as per Kerala University Syllabus 2013 scheme. So thank you Sabeena teacher for giving me this opportunity to present this session. So let's get started. So in this session we are going to discuss about security in network. So we'll be discussing about threats to network communication, how we can control it, and also other countermeasures for various threats. Along with that, we'll be also discussing about port scanning. So let's get started. So to begin with, threats. There are mainly 4 types of threats: interception, modification, fabrication, and interruption. Modification and fabrication can be together called as data corruption or integrity failure. Interruption is also known as loss of service, and interception is known as unauthorized view. Modification is also known as unauthorized change, and fabrication together they are known as data corruption. Fabrication is known as unauthorized creation, and interruption is the preventing authorized access. So now we look into detail about each topic. First one comes interception. Interception is also known as wiretapping or eavesdropping. It is actually an unauthorized view. So it is the unauthorized way of listening to private communication over the network. Suppose the sender and the receiver are communicating through some transmission media, and there is a third party, that is the attacker, who listens to them, who listens to what they speak. So this is actually unaware to both the sender and the receiver that someone else is also listening to what they speak. So this is known as interception. Interception does not interfere with the normal operations, so that the sender and the receiver of the messages are not aware that their conversation is being traced. So what is a countermeasure? Encryption is the countermeasure to assure interception. So we have learned about encryption, and so this encryption can be used here so that the entire message can be encrypted. Now we'll discuss about various reasons for interception. So first one is sharing. Okay, so various reasons for interception. So first reason is sharing. Network enable resource sharing which can be accessed by a large range of audience. So we already know that network is actually accessed by a wide range of audience, so it is easy for an attacker to easily use these resources that is being shared in a network. Okay, so it can help an attacker to intercept the resources. Intercept is nothing but listening to the resources, right? So that's about sharing. It is due to the wide range of audience. Second one is the system complexity. Every system in a network will have a complex and large operating system, and we know that there are different computing devices in a network and they will have dissimilar operating systems. Okay, dissimilar operating systems. So a network will combine more than 2 dissimilar operating systems, and this can be used by an attacker to invade into a network. The third reason is unknown perimeter. Every computing device in a network will have a security boundary. Okay, we know every computing device will have its own security boundary, the boundary under which it is secure. But when it comes in a network, or maybe in 2 different networks, it is not as secure as it is when it individually stands. For example, here the computing device B or node B is connected to a device A and to another device C. Together this forms one network, that is network 1. Okay, I'll mark it as N1. Again, B is connected to another device D and to C. Okay, sorry, it is E. I mistakenly wrote it as C. That is network 2. Here, B is connected to 2 different networks, which means that the users of one network can access resources from the other network. Okay. So I'm so sorry that the camera angle is not proper. Okay. Now the next reason is unknown path. Suppose we have to send a message from one device A to another device D. See, as you can see from the figure, here B is actually more secure and C is not secure. Here B and C are intermediate routers through which the data or the resources are being shared from A to D. So the resources, when they reach B, it is more secure. The B is having more security, which means that it cannot be invaded by anyone outside. But C is not secure. This can be used by an attacker to intercept the resources at C. Okay, that is what we have discussed in this figure. Okay, so I hope that is clear. So these are the 4 different reasons for interception. So we'll quickly recollect the different reasons for interception. The first one was sharing. Sharing was actually due to the wide range of audience in a network. Second one was system complexity. That is due to dissimilar operating systems in a network. Okay, system complexity. The third one was unknown perimeter. That is due to the that is because different computing devices will be a part of different networks. And the fourth one is unknown path. Unknown path means the resources can be shared across different paths which differ in their security measures. So these are the different reasons for interception, and that's all about interception. I hope that's clear. Now we'll move on to the next threat, that is modification or fabrication, which we together call as data corruption. So here the communication will be changed during transmission. Modification is actually unauthorized change, and here the communication will be changed during transmission. It means that what is being sent will be different from what is being received. So sender will send something. Okay, sender is sending something, and this will be different from what is being received at the receiver end, because someone or an intruder can change the data while it is being sent to the receiver end. Okay, now there are mainly 3 types of modifying a data, or there are different types of modification. First one is modifying a data en route. This means that there are 3 types: modifying a data en route, insertion, and replay. See, modifying a data en route means while a data is being sent from the sender to the receiver, on the way the data will be modified. Okay, that is en route. And second one is insertion and replay. We'll look into these 2 topics later in this session. Before that, we'll have to look into a certain more other details about modification threat. That is, modification can be intentional or unintentional. Okay, so modification can be intentional or unintentional. Intentional in the sense it is being performed by an attacker who wants to change something that is being sent from the sender to the receiver purposefully. So intentional modification is performed by an attacker. Okay, I'll write it down. He wants to change something purposefully. He wants to change something purposefully from what is being sent. Okay, that is intentional modification. And then other part is unintentional modification due to some typing errors or accidental errors. Sometimes whenever the data or the resources are being sent, there can be some typing errors due to carelessness. So those comes under unintentional modification. So modification is nothing but incorrect or corrupted data is being received by people at the receiver end. That is modification. It may be unintentionally done or intentionally done by an attacker. So coming to network concepts, networks are more vulnerable to data corruption. So what would be the reason? Networks are more vulnerable to data corruption because of the wide range of audience. I'll write it down. Open networks are actually open to a wide range of audience. Hence, there are more possibilities for the networks to be prone to data corruption. So there should be a possible way through which we can prevent this data corruption, or there should be a countermeasure. So we are using TCP/IP protocol. You might be familiar with this protocol, which we have learned in our previous semester. So TCP/IP has features to ensure the correctness for the receiver. Okay, so these are the basic details of modification or fabrication threat. Now we'll move on to modification failures. So before that, I hope this is clear about data corruption. The incorrect or corrupted data is being received at the receiver end, and it can be corrected using TCP/IP, which has features for correction. So modification failures. So there are different types of modification failures, and here we are going to discuss sequencing first. Okay, so sequencing, it involves permuting of order of data. Okay, so sequencing, actually we have learned about sequencing in our previous semester. Permuting means nothing but changing. So it involves the changing of order of data, and it is a very common in networks. So, what do you mean by sequencing? Suppose there is a center who is sending data packets in the order 3, 2, 1, such that the packet 1 should reach first. But due to routing, you know that routing is out of control of the user. So, due to routing, there happens sequencing. Okay, now let's look into detail how this happens. There is a center, he's sending data packets 3, 2, 1, and such that the packet 1 should reach first. But due to this routing, packet 2 will reach prior to packet 1. Okay, so there will be some differences in the output that is being received at the destination end. This is known as sequencing. Now we'll look into detail how this happens. And we'll see how routing causes sequencing. So I've already drawn a picture here, a figure here, but I don't think it is clear to you, so I'll draw it once again. Okay. Okay, so there is a center S and a destination D. So we'll draw that first. There is a center S, and there are 3 packets, 1, 2, and 3. Okay, as you can see from the figure, it is marked as 1, 2, and 3, the data packets, and center wants to communicate with the destination marked as D. And there are 2 intermediate routers, A and B. Okay, A and B. Now the routers are connected to the destination D. So this is how the network is. Now we'll see how the data packets are being sent using the routing. So first packet 1 is being sent through the best route A, that is through the router A. Okay, that is the best route. Now when it comes to the second packet, it seems that router A is already busy, so it takes the alternate way, that is through the router B. Okay, so second packet is being sent from the center through the alternate transmission media through the router B. Now coming to B, there is network traffic. We already have studied about network traffic, but at B, network traffic is low, which means that the packet B can easily go through router B and reach D first. That is before the first packet from A, right? So packet 2 will reach D first before packet 1. And then comes packet 3. So this is how the sequencing happened. Now as you can see, substitution is nothing but the replacement of one piece of data stream with another. Okay, one piece of data stream is replaced with another. So it is very common in hardware or software malfunction occur. It is very common if hardware or software malfunction occur such that 2 data streams gets entangled, then piece of one stream is exchanged with other stream. Apart from that, attacker can change data in one stream. So there should be a countermeasure for substitution, and encryption is the best countermeasure for substitution. Okay, is that clear? So the countermeasure is the encryption of the entire resource or the entire data. I'll write it down. The entire message is encrypted. So this is an effective countermeasure. The next modification failure is insertion. Insertion is similar to substitution, but in substitution there is replacement of one piece of data with another, but in insertion there is no such replacement. Attacker can simply insert or add a new element to the existing data stream. So here attacker need to know the encryption scheme to add a new element to the data stream. So it is very easy for an attacker to add a new element to the existing data stream because he doesn't need to know the encryption scheme. The last modification failure is replay, which is the data are reused without any modification. So I'll give you an example, a bank transaction where a person is crediting 500 rupees to his account, and if this process is repeated twice, 2 times the 500 amount, the rupees will be credited to his account, resulting in 1,000 rupees in his account, right? So that is an example for replay. And those were the 3 modification failures that comes under modification threat. Now we will have to study about interruption or loss of service. So interruption occurs when users are unable to access information systems, devices due to cyber intruder. So this cyber intruder will make this resource or this networking device flooded, so that there will be much traffic within this network, and it will not respond or crashes, preventing access to its authorized users. So this interruption does not cost any resources or services, but will only cost money and time, which means that the resources and services will be inaccessible, but still money and time will be costed. Okay, so what happens, or what could be the reasons? One is the excessive demand. Due to this excessive demand, either the system can shut down, or there can be some degraded service that is provided to its users. So degraded services means among the different users trying to access a networking resource, only few of them will be given access and others will be degraded, or will be given very minimum services. And the other reason is hardware failure. Some kind of hardware failure can also result in loss of service or interruption. So at the beginning of the session, we had said that we will be also discussing about port scanning. So port scanning is used to identify open ports and services that is available on a network host. So this is used by security technicians as well as hackers. So as the name suggests, port scanning is nothing but the scanning of computing devices to find open ports from which they can access the services as well as resources. So security technicians use this technique to audit the devices for vulnerabilities, that is to check if the computing device is vulnerable or prone to threats. Again, port scanning is also used by hackers to target their victims. Okay, I'll write it down. Target their victims. Okay, now I'll give you a very simple example to understand port scanning. Suppose a thief wants to steal something from a house. So what he does first is search for open windows or doors through which he can get inside, right? That is similar to port scanning. If an attacker wants to attack a particular computing device, he searches for open ports through which he can access the services or he can access the resources from that particular device. I hope it's clear with this example. So this port scanning is actually not illegal. However, repeated port scanning can lead to denial of service. So port scanning is actually an easy way for hackers to discover services they can break into. Port scanner is actually a program to detect port scanning. So these are the points that you have to remember about port scanning. And now we'll see the port scanning tools. Port scanning tools are readily available. So we have already said that port scanning is not illegal, means its tools or port scanning tools are readily available. One such example is Nmap scanner. It is a port scanning tool which anyone can download this Nmap scanner. So once an IP address is given to this Nmap scanner, you are given access to the open ports, services and the owner of the corresponding device. Another example is Netcat, which is also similar to Nmap scanner. Nessus and CyberCop scanners are some of the commercial port scanning tools. They are expensive but are readily available. Now we'll discuss about the port scanning result, or what do we get when we perform this port scanning. So there are 7 results for port scanning, and these results will depend on the port scanning tools that we use. So the results are number of hosts, IP addresses, MAC addresses, that is physical address, operating system and its version, pods that respond, service applications that respond, and how long the responses took. So these are the 7 pod scanning results. Okay. Now again, this depends on the pod scanning tools that we use. So that's all about pod scanning. I hope this session was clear to you, and thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you, Reshma, for your vibrant session on network security and threats. Reshma covered almost all the aspects of network security and its high-level threats. And this session is helpful for the final year students and for the network beginners. I hope everyone understood what network security and its threats. And that's all about today's session. Thank you.